One guy pulls this green cardboard and he says, "Ranger, Ranger, you die Somalia." I left my body. There's a scientific explanation for that, and there's a spiritual explanation for that. I remember distinctly looking down and seeing myself being carried through the streets. The spiritual explanation is I'm about to die, and God
sent you back.
AK-47 through the crack in the door, bang, round goes off. It hits the ground. Round ends up in my left arm. So I go to pull because the round had decelerated to the point where it didn't go in that far. And I went to pull it out and I burned the shit out of my fingers. A little lesson learned. If you get shot and you try to pull the round out, it's probably gonna be hot if you don't give it very much time. Somebody realizes I have value as a prisoner. And Mark Bowden is the one who discovered this. I didn't know. I don't remember this shot being fired. He claims he fired shots in the air and got control of the mob. I mean, again, at that point, and the doctors told me, Mike, give yourself some slack here. You're in freaking shock, okay? You don't sustain injuries like that and then be overrun and beaten and not be in shock. You know, he said, your brain's probably not processing everything like you normally would. And I said, yeah, you know, Doc, you're probably right. I never really thought of it that way, but you're probably right. So anyway, the Somali claims he fired shots in the air, got the crowd to back off, and said, you know, we're taking you into captivity and we're going to turn you over to a deed. Well, before they did, the only identifying
thing... They told you that?
No.
Did any of these guys speak English?
No. Mark Bowden told me.
So you have no fucking idea what these guys are saying, nothing?
No, or who they are. I mean, I know they're, you know, pissed off, out of control Somalis. Yeah.
There's just people ransacking your body.
Yeah.
And trying to kill you.
Yep. Some obviously civilians, some, I mean, they didn't wear uniforms like a traditional military person would, but I mean, you could tell they're, you know, SNA, Somali National Alliance people, the way, just AK-47, kind of militaristic looking
the way
clothing.
They carry themselves.
Yeah. So the only identifying things I carried, we had a green piece of cardboard that got us into the Task Force Ranger compound because it's secure, you know, and we have access points. And we would leave like to go run PT. We would run around the airfield. I mean, we carried our MP5s, you know, we had them slung on our backs when we'd run, but the airfield, I think it was like maybe 6 miles around. And we were actually training to go do the Marine Corps Marathon again. And another thing that I think helped me survive this is I was in pretty damn good shape. I mean, we were training to go run a marathon the following month. And, but when we got back, we'd have to show our credentials, and it's nothing sophisticated. It's a green freaking piece of cardboard with laminated. All right, Task Force Ranger. I also had my name tag on, which has a picture of a Black Hawk. It's got my rank on there, U.S. Army, wings, and I think that's it. When they were ripping all my shit off, one guy pulls this green cardboard and he says, "Ranger, Ranger, you die Somalia." So I guess they did speak English. My correction. Sorry, I forgot about that. That tells you several things right there. They know what it takes to access the Task Force Ranger compound. I mean, as soon as he sees the green card, that to him is, this is my access. So this is why I said earlier, you don't know who the bad guys are. When you're in these third world countries, you're relying on locals to do different things, which we have to because we don't have the support a lot of times to do it all with, you know, green suitors or blue suitors or you know, organic assets. So anyway, then they threw dirt in my face and then they wrapped a rag around my head so I can't see, and they hoist me up in the air. Now, it's possible my femur goes out here. Again, I don't know. And at that point, I'm being paraded around through the streets. So I'm like the living version of what they did with the bodies. They're celebrating. They shot down an aircraft. They killed Americans. Now they have an American. And I mean.
What are you hearing?
I'm hearing screaming. I always thought, and again, I can't see. So I felt like most of the loudest voices were female. I don't know if that's an accurate recollection, but that's what I recalled. and then I'm getting hit. And I know if you kill a male in their family, that is something that the women seek retribution for, reparations for, and maybe that's part of why they're hitting me. I don't know, right? But I know we kill a lot of people there, and rightfully so. They're attacking us. I mean, we're not killing people just because we want to. They're attacking us. I mean, we're essentially defending ourselves. So anyway, I describe a moment, and I've said this from the beginning. I left my body. I mean, there's a scientific explanation for that, and there's a spiritual explanation for that. All I can tell you is it happened. I remember distinctly looking down and seeing myself being carried through the streets, and the pain went away. I mean, it was like, wow, thank God that's not me, because that looks like that really sucks. And it only lasted a few seconds. And then, bam, it is me. And the scientific explanation being your brain has a lot of capabilities that you'll never use. And one of them is it can trick itself if it's dealing with significant trauma and try to figure out a way to tell you it's not real. That's the scientific explanation. The spiritual explanation is I'm about to die, and God
sent you back.
Don't know.
Yeah, you do.
I know I got a lot of people pulling for me that are up there.
Yeah, that's no shit.
My grandmother in particular. And you can't say no to her. So I'm back in the moment. And they're carrying me through the streets. And then they throw me on the ground. And I'm trying to get sorted out. Just a bizarre little trivial thing. My desert tan flight suit is a two-piece, which looks kind of like BDUs, not a traditional like Air Force looking flight suit. And it's got really long pockets. And what had happened was I had a pocket knife in it, and the pocket flipped over. So if you reached in, you thought you were getting to the bottom of my pocket, but you weren't because it was flipped over. And they reached in there, they searched me, but they didn't see the pocket knife. So I had a pocket knife. What am I gonna do with it? I don't freaking know. But I have a knife, okay? And I'm like looking at my situation, and it's like, oh man, this is bad. And they're arguing amongst themselves. You could tell they didn't know what to do. They hadn't really planned this contingency. And they suddenly come back in the room, and they hoist me up again. And they run me out to a flat, like a truck with a big flat surface on the back, throw me on the back of that, throw a tarp over me, and then get on the back of the truck. Because, in these third world countries, right? If you can fit 50 people, you can fit 51 on the back of the thing, and they all pile on. And basically, they don't want anyone to know, obviously, American or Somali, that I am there. Now, according to Mark's research, what actually happened here is that the people that overrun the site are not Ha-Bergetter. They're some other clan. And they reached a deal, probably a monetary deal, with a deed to turn me over to him. And the group that comes to get me to move to the second location is a deeds people. And that's why they moved me so quickly to another location. I don't know any of this is going on, but that is apparently what happened. So I moved by ground. I don't know where the hell we're going. And they put me in a little octagonal room that had like some of the bricks higher up had like ventilation through them. So I could hear what's going on outside, but I couldn't see. The lower parts of the wall are solid. It's like a dirt, pea gravel kind of floor. No, it might have been concrete floor, but it's pea gravel outside, just like survival school, exactly the same way. And the beauty of it was I could hear them when they approached the door, just like survival school. I don't know. It's just a coincidence. But so during the night, they had chained me up. I call it a dog chain, just primarily to give you some sense of the thickness of the chain. It was fairly light. And I was sweating profusely. I mean, it's hot. You can imagine with all these injuries, all the shit's going on in my body. I was actually able to get out of the chain. And I'm laying there, and, I got the dirt out of my eyes. I'm straightening my leg out a little bit. It's starting to swell. I still have my trousers on, but they're very baggy. Eventually, my leg's going to get big enough where they're skin tight. And at that point, I'm like, there's no freaking way this leg is ever going to make it. And they're approaching the door, and I rewrap the chain around my wrist to make them think that I'm still chained up. And I look, and AK-47 through the crack in the door, bang, round goes off towards me, but the person didn't take time to aim. It hits the ground maybe 5 feet away from me. The round ends up in my left arm, and the shrapnel from either the round or concrete floor ends up in the back of my fractured femur leg. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I don't have enough going on here that they're shooting at me in captivity. So I go to pull because the round had decelerated to the point where it didn't go in that far. And I went to pull it out, and I burned the shit out of my fingers. And little lesson learned, if you get shot and you try to pull the round out, it's probably going to be hot if you don't give it very much time, because it's obviously gone through the barrel at a high velocity. So I burned my fingers, got it out, threw it on the ground. All right, what's next, troops? And somewhere in that night, I don't remember if it was before I got shot or after I got shot, but I start hearing the convoy. And I'm racing through my mind. We had reconnaissance birds up. So,
do you have any recollection of time?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. But the sequence was one before the other. Sometimes, it's been so long, I don't really recall. But during the night, so probably it's before I get shot, I hear the convoy. It had to be the convoy, because there's a lot of shooting both ways, coming in and going out. Obviously the Somalis that are around where I'm being held are shooting, and I hear round. I swear I can hear what were, probably large caliber rounds flying and hitting the walls. Were those RPGs? Not sure. I hadn't heard RPGs flying before, so I don't know. It could have been that, but either way, it's coming, and I'm like, man, they know where I am. This is a rescue, because it's coming. It's getting louder and louder and louder, and I'm thinking, okay, a reconnaissance bird saw them capture me, followed me, kept eyes on the whole way. Now they know right where I am, and they're coming to get me. Like, is somebody else going to come in here and pop me?
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.